Hi, and welcome to my review of the Starcrossed series by Josephine Angelini. So it's a trilogy, and it is Starcrossed. These are library books, so they're like extra shiny. Dreamless and Goddess, like I said, by Josephine Angelini. And basically this series is a retelling of the Iliad. Yes, by Homer. I am a horrible English major. So it's a retelling of the Iliad by Homer, and which is basically the story of Helen of Troy and Paris and Achilles and all of those people. And I knew it was a retelling, but not of what when I went into it, because I just read the synopsis. And it's about a girl named Helen. Surprise, surprise. Actually, I think I wrote in my things, I was like, Helen of Troy? No. Yeah, no. Like literally back and forth because I don't know anything. And she starts having these like kind of nightmares, but she's waking up like covered in dust and things, like as if she's going somewhere. And then this family, the Delos family, shows up on her home. She lives in Nantucket. They show up, and when she first meets Lucas Delos, who is one of the guys, she literally attacks him, like sees him in the hall and just like goes for the jugular, and they're like fighting each other like crazy, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And then she finds out why. I'm not sure if it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say why, but it is basically a retelling, and the characters, so Helen and the Delos family and other people are reliving the story of the Iliad, basically. So and often fate recasts people. So you know, somebody's Helen and somebody's Paris and somebody's Achilles and somebody's Hector and all of these things. And for the most part, a lot of these people know this is going on, but Helen has no idea. She's oblivious. And then there's a larger plot going on. Like there's, why is this happening? Is there a way to stop it? Why do we hate each other? Why do we want to claw each other's eyes out? All of those things. But at the same time, Helen and Lucas are dealing with their own emotions for each other. Like they're starting to care about each other, but they're supposed to hate each other. And so you have that going on. As I said before, I didn't know anything really about the Iliad. So I've never read the Iliad, I've never read the Odyssey. I didn't have to read it in high school or college, and I've never gone out independently and read them. In addition to that, I needed a beverage. So in addition, I had never even seen like that movie Troy with Brad Pitt and Orlando Bloom and Eric Bana and that girl from National Treasure, I think. So I like literally went into this story blind, which I think was kind of a disadvantage. I mean, she does a great job at explaining things to you, so if you don't know anything, that's fine. Because I didn't, and I enjoyed it anyways. But I definitely think you would get more out of it if you had at least a brief knowledge of it. So basically, what I would do is, while I was reading them, is two of my coworkers had read the Iliad and everything and were kind of knowledgeable, so I would literally keep asking them questions and then try and apply what they had told me to the books. I don't know, try and guess what was going to happen. Books are definitely interesting. It's a different kind of story. You know, fairy tale retellings happen a lot, but something like this I think is a little different. And I really enjoyed a lot of the characters. I got invested in them. I cared about them. It definitely had, the Delos family definitely had a Twilighty feel to me. Like it kind of felt like the Cullen clan in Twilight, but I liked them more. Like Hector kind of feels like Kellen Lutz's character. I don't know. I just like looking at Kellen Lutz. they were each well-developed characters. They had their own plot lines and their own stories, and I cared about each of them in some way. Hector is my favorite. I loved Hector. It literally, my notes, like every other note I took, is Hector better not die. Hector better not die. I'm gonna be so mad if Hector dies. Please, Hector, don't die. I really liked Hector. He is in the first book, but in the second book, I fall in love with him. And there's one thing that she does in the books that I kind of wish she had addressed between Hector and Helen that never, I thought that would have been hilarious. And their relationship, Hector and Helen, their relationship is really interesting and really fun. And really everyone's interactions with each other are really entertaining and interesting, and kind of people act different with different people, and that's really normal. I think that's how people are. I didn't find Helen that annoying of a character. I think part of it is this book is told in third person, so you're not like stuck in her head. That might have been a little much, but in general, she's an understandable character. You don't get mad at her. She makes some pretty silly decisions, but in a lot of ways I understood where she was coming from. The romance, which does turn into a love triangle eventually, but the love triangle feels a little forced and unnecessary almost. But the romance is definitely a slow burning romance for sure. So if you don't like slow burn, then you might want to stay away, but if you like slow burn, you'll probably like it. One issue with these books is they are confusing. So and maybe that's because like I don't know, like I said, history, so maybe that's why they're confusing to me. But like the first book, for like the first 50 to 75 pages, I was like, what is going on? Who are these people? Why are they doing these things? And it's not that she wasn't world building, she was. It was just, it would take time for the information to come out, which is fine. You don't want to info dump. So, and then like by the end of Starcrossed, I was like, okay, I got this. I know what's going on. I understand. I'm ready to go read the second book. And then I read the second book, and the same thing happened again. So, and it happened in the third book as well, like where you almost feel like you're starting from scratch again, where you're just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm confused. Who can I trust? Who can I not trust? That was a struggle. It kind of was hard to get into the books with each one, which is unusual. I've never had a series be like that before. Another complaint is there were some things in the final book, character choice-wise, where characters made decisions that I didn't fully understand why they made those decisions. Like, some things felt almost like they needed to happen plot-wise, so she made them happen. And I'm not necessarily angry that those things occurred, I just didn't see the reason for the choice on the character's part, and I would have liked to see that more. Additionally, the wrap-up, I would have preferred a little more. Like, there is an epilogue, and I just felt it wasn't quite long enough for me. I needed a little bit more information. I needed to know a little bit more about where these characters were. That's a pretty small complaint, I guess. And then a few more things that I liked, might as well sandwich the bad things with things I like, is I liked the gods, because the gods start to get involved at times, and the way they were characterized was a little different from what I'm used to seeing, and especially Hades. I really, really, really liked Hades. Like, I thought his character was really interesting. I want to know more about him. I'm really curious about him. I kind of wish we had more, but at the same time, I understand, like, the, mystery of not knowing more things. And just everyone, you get to meet a lot of people and their portrayal, and everything was a little different. And then I also liked in the third book, because basically these characters are like replaying past events, and she interweaves past history, like past Helen and Paris's. Like, so you have the original Helen and Paris from Troy, but then you have other ones, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's Helen and Paris? What? No. And just seeing all of those and how they kind of impacted the contemporary story was interesting, and I wasn't expecting it at all, and I found it curious, and I cared about those characters even though they were like nothing in the book really. It was just there. Starcrossed, I gave 4 stars. Dreamless, I gave 4.5 stars. And Goddess, I gave 4 stars. So the series did pretty well with me. It's about 4.1/4 stars for the series as a whole, I guess. And I would definitely recommend it. I think it's different, and it says on the book that Josephine Angelini is an international best-selling author, and I believe this is all she had written at the time when these were published. So these must be bestsellers, but I had never heard of them before. I don't see them a lot on BookTube, so that's why I kind of wanted to do this video, and I do recommend them. I think they have some weaknesses, but they're an interesting story, and it's different from a lot of other things that I've read, so I assume it's different from what other people have read as well. If you think there's anything similar or better that's kind of in the same style, let me know. I'm always looking for recommendations. And if you've read these and you like them or don't, let me know. We can talk about it down in the comments. And thanks for watching. Bye!